Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, I got something sort of unique to take a look at today. This is a little off-road, I don't know how off-road it'll be, FPV car. So it has a 1080p camera mounted on top of the car, and it lets you connect to the app on your phone via Wi-Fi to navigate around and explore using this 1080p camera mounted on top of the car. Now, you don't have to have the camera, you can just drive around without it. It is removable, but it lets you explore. This is sort of an exploration car. I don't know how off-road it'll be. It is very basic. So you can just see some of the functions they mention here, shocks and monster tires, high-speed motor. I don't know about that, but it does have LED lights, which I'll show you guys in a moment. So this is a DEERC DE65. They mention here 60-minute runtime. I'm sure that's going to be 30 minutes per each battery. There are 2 included batteries with this FPV car. So let's set the box down. Let's grab the car. So you do have to mount this camera on top. Here's a little Wi-Fi FPV antenna. It plugs into a micro USB port on the side here, and that actually powers the camera. Now it does use a micro SD card slot. So that allows you to record the 1080p video straight to a card with a max capacity of 32 gigabytes. So that's what I got in there, a 32 gig. They say that's a max, so if you go larger, there's a chance that it might not actually work with a 64 or 128 card in there. If you don't put a card in, then it just records to the gallery on your phone. Now I tested it and it is 1080p. Unfortunately, it's a very, very low frame rate of around 12.5 frames per second, which is pretty horrendous. Thankfully, this car is not really quick, so the lower frame rate won't be as bad. But it does get rather blocky and, you know, shuddery effect when you're moving because of a really low frame rate. It is just friction shocks. There's not much. As you can see, it's straight shaft. There's no differential. This is very basic. This is not proportional. So it's all or nothing steering. The giveaway on that is a little dial on the bottom to adjust the steering. So it's all or nothing. Same with the speed. So again, it's just more for exploration. This is an absolute beginner car. So this would be more for a kid, but you might be interested in this if you like the FPV aspect, but the car itself is not something high end. And here are those LED strip lights on the bottom. They actually are relatively bright, so you might be able to see them here in the daytime. And they also have a strip bar, set of bar lights here on the top of the car. So it does have several sets of lights, which is sort of cool. And the controller, as you guys can imagine, is just, pretty basic, being that it is all or nothing. It does have a foam grip, but it's, again, even though it sort of feels like it might be proportional, it's just all or nothing. There's your throttle and your reverse, your power button on the side, and you do install the phone clip holder so that you can mount your phone in it. It takes 4 AA batteries, and I'll show you guys the battery. It comes with 2 of these, and these are actually, I have to take it out to show you, but it says lithium ion 7.4 volt. It looks like a NiCad pack because of the 4 cells, but it says it's lithium ion, and a 4-cell NiCad pack would be like 4.8 volts, not 7.4. And there's your charger. The lights will change. I think it just went out when it was done. And a little flip screwdriver. You do have to not only mount the camera, but you have to put the spoiler on if you want it, and it does require you put those 2 screws in the back to actually mount the camera for this guy. So that's why they include that. But that's pretty much everything on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get my phone mounted into it because I need to take the case off my phone, and we'll drive it around here, probably more in the rock lane, and just see how it works. I did notice in a little test I did inside my house that, of course, with Wi-Fi, anything Wi-Fi FPV based, there's going to be latency. So thankfully it's not being really quick. It may not be that big of a deal, but you're going to be behind by a fraction of a second, maybe a half second or so, compared to what's actually happening. And that could cause a problem to avoid obstacles or not. But thankfully, with this being relatively slow, I don't think it'll be as big of a deal. All right, let's get that all bound up, and I'll be right back, and we'll take this car out and see how it does. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, I have it all connected with the app. The app for this is the DEERC D2 app. That's what you need to use to connect to this guy so that you can see the FPV feed and start recording the video. So again, I have a micro SD card in there, so we'll have 1080p video. though again, it is a rather low frame rate. So you just want to go ahead and start and press the record button here. Now we're recording, so we'll have some video. Again, there is some lag with this guy, which because it's Wi-Fi based. I'm going to try to drive by the FPV here some. Again, it's just one speed, so it's not going to be like you can adjust the speed on this guy. Now, this might be fun for someone that wants to do a little FPV exploration. You can see here I am. Let me see there, make sure that that isn't proportional on the throttle. Yeah, actually it is. So I was mistaken on it. It's very uncommon to have a car that is non-proportional steering but proportional throttle, but it actually is. Let me show you guys that. If I give it just a little bit, see, look, I'm barely going, and then I can get, look. So yeah, it is proportional throttle. So I was mistaken there. Obviously, that's one of the problems with not testing something out before I review it. I usually try to do that, but you know, lately it's been difficult with the weather to actually get out because it's just so rainy and wet. So yes, this is fully proportional throttle, but not proportional steering. The steering is just all or nothing. You can hear that. Let's see if you guys listen. They clank, clank, and that's just that motor. Just it's all or nothing. There's no in between. But yes, we do have proportional throttle. That is actually quite nice for doing this, so you're not stuck to full speed as a car like this would typically be whenever you're trying to explore. So if you're somebody that might be wanting to try FPV, but you're just not comfortable flying a drone yet, or you're worried you won't be able to, but you have no problem with RC cars, and this is pretty much something anybody could drive, then this might be something to consider, because obviously this is a whole lot easier to control than a drone, even a GPS drone, which are pretty darn easy to fly. But this will be very easy, and this is not going to be super expensive compared to a good, a good FPV drone would cost. So yeah, that actually moves along decently well with a little brushed motor in there. Now this grass over here is too tall. There's no way it's going to make it through there, but we can see if we can just sort of like, I don't want to drive it around the gravestones obviously, but if we can just kind of drive it on just the edge here to see if it'll go through the edge of this grass, just to see. Yeah, because again, they claim it to be off-road. Oh yeah, I made it out. Because this gets mowed regularly in a cemetery, of course. So the grass is really short, but again, I don't drive my cars into the cemetery. I think that would be very disrespectful. I think everybody would agree with that. So I keep it on this lane. It's not the best backdrop, but it's behind my house, and it's a good area to get away from all the traffic noise and stuff of the neighborhood. And we had a lot of lawnmowers going. Those big zero-turn mowers are so noisy. They're just incredibly, as great as those things are, they're so noisy that if I'm trying to film, it's just impossible to talk over it well. But yeah, I mean, the biggest complaint obviously with this is going to be that really low frame rate of 12.5 FPS, which is really odd. I've never seen one at that bizarre frame rate. And it's a bit bouncy with just those friction shocks, and of course it gets stuck rather easily because it doesn't have much clearance and it doesn't have the greatest amount of power. But it's nice that it uses a lithium-ion pack and not a nickel-cadmium pack, so a little bit more punch with that. Let's just drive it down here and see if we can sort of just drive by the screen. And see, I'm kind of topped out on top of one of these big weeds. That's going to be a problem. Even though it's got the power, it's getting stuck. See? Oh, there we go. We finally got off of it. The latency is a bit of a problem for driving this guy. I'm trying to do it here. But it is just because of that lag being about, I don't know, it's sometimes upwards of a second for that video to get here and get processed. That is causing a bit of a control problem at times. What you end up doing is you end up oversteering because you're trying to sort of anticipate the next move, and you got that lag from what the car's actually doing. It's weird on these FPV drones and cars about how some can have very, very low lag and some is really bad. I'm not really exactly sure why that is. They should be about the same, because you know, if you have the same phone, it takes your phone a moment to process the video coming in. So that's going to add a little lag. But just some are just, and it could just be the way the app's developed or what video, you know, codecs or whatever maybe it's you can use, I don't know. Something just causes some of them to be a lot worse than others. And this one is on the poor end of the spectrum in terms of the amount of lag. But again, being a car, this isn't so bad. This is a drone. This would be really difficult because you would be trying to control it and then you end up hitting something because your video feed's behind. So, ooh, almost flipped it over there. But yeah, I don't think the video's terrible. It's not great, but again, you can't expect the greatest on a little toy camera like this. Though it is, like I said, it is technically 1080p. I'd be curious what the video saved to the phone. I'll have to look and see if there actually is. I think it says in instructions that it will record to both with the SD card. I'd be curious if the 720p video might be a higher frame rate, because the video coming into the phone might be 25 or something. I don't know. It may very well be the same, but it's conceivable we could get a better frame rate on the 720p video to your phone. Let's see if we can drive it over here, and then, you know, we're getting sort of the point where there's not much else I can show you guys. It's just that this is gonna be something you could certainly allow a kid or something to try to get into to explore. See, that worked pretty well there. Whoa, my goodness, was that cool. I'm glad I caught that in my head cam as well. We did a complete somersault barrel roll type, I guess more of a somersault with the car. And it was back on its wheels. That was pretty awesome. Oh, he did it again. That is pretty cool. I don't know what's causing it to do that, but it is just maybe the way the car's a bit top heavy with the camera. Let's see if we can do that again. Now, got lucky there. Now, for someone like myself, even though I do fly FPV, you know, some with the drones, you know, I'm a lot of line of sight guy, so it's just driving this thing. Whoa, almost did it again. By FPV, it's still a bit awkward to me. It's going to take you some time if you're not used to it. And again, that lag is going to cause some problems with just, you're going to bang into a lot of stuff, because what you're going to see is not exactly what the car's doing. It's, you're behind by, I would say, upwards at times of a second. On average, probably around a half a second. But I can certainly do it. And I would advise, since it is proportional on the throttle, to actually do this going slower at first. That's going, if I go like this, like I can navigate here easier, and I have more time to then correct it, because I'm not going to be going as quick. It's just going to be easier to do. So yeah, go slower at first until you get used to it. So I'm really thankful that I was wrong, and this does have proportional throttle. That's just making a huge difference on being able to do this. And I think this would be something, if you were doing this inside your house, you know, this is slow enough, not going to hurt anything, that you can explore around, you know, hardwood floors or linoleum in a kitchen and have no problem. You have no problem with carpet, but you can explore around your house, is what I'm getting at, and it's going to be easier than outdoors. And maybe until you get comfortable, the more you do this, the better you're going to get at it, and then you can do this outdoors and be better than what I'm doing. So I think that's enough, guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video so we know we have it saved, because if you don't stop the video on these toy grade stuff, even with an SD card, there's a chance that that video is going to corrupt. Now, we should have a video to the gallery as well, but we want to get the 1080p video on there for you guys. So yeah, overall not too bad. you know, for the price, probably okay. It's, again, it's just not top of the line RC. This is toy grade RC with a more toy grade camera for someone younger or someone who just wanted to get into FPV and try it out without breaking the bank. So if you're interested in this little car, there'll be a purchase link down in the video description. I'll try to make a pinned comment if I remember to it as well, with a purchase link. So if you do choose to buy anything that I review on my channel, it does help the channel out. Very, very small amount of commission that I get from anything on Amazon, but you don't pay any more. So if you want to help support the channel and you're interested in a product, just use that link. It helps me, but it won't cost you any more. In fact, usually you save money because they will give me a special coupon just for my channel, which if I have one, I'll include it. If not, I'll let them know. Usually I'll send DRC the video, and then they'll come back and say, well, we have a coupon, and they'll send me that coupon then at night. So it may have a coupon by the time you see this on the channel. All right, guys, that should wrap up the review for the little DRC, the DE65. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. While you're at it, click the bell. That way you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.